Hey everyone, this is Mike, and today I'll be starting a new mini-series on the channel going over the combat in Lost Ark, starting off with the roles that are available in the game. Unlike more traditional MMOs like Final Fantasy XIV or World of Warcraft, we don't have a holy trinity system of tank, healer and DPS. Instead, we have DPS and support. DPS is the same as in other MMOs, their job is to deal as much damage as possible, and supports are there to help out DPS players with damage and defensive boosting buffs and debuffs. Something important to note is that a support is not a healer. While they do have access to some form of healing in their toolkit, if you're going to be eating a lot of damage, then a support won't be able to keep you alive, like a healer would in Final Fantasy for example. They will however be able to reduce the damage you take by casting shields and defensive buffs on the party. So you'll be using less potions, but it's still a good idea to bring them with you, because just because you have a support in the party doesn't mean you won't need any potions. While a support's main job is to support the party, they will also be doing a fair amount of damage. In the gameplay in the background, 6 skills out of 8 that I have on my hotbar are there to support the party in some shape or form, be it through buffs, debuffs or a counterattack. But all of these skills will also deal damage, so it becomes this dance of trying to position yourself correctly to hit all of your party members with your buffs, while also still hitting the boss with the damage portion of those skills. Something similar also goes for the DPS role as well. While their main focus is going to be on dealing damage, each DPS also has access to some form of a team synergy, be it through a debuff on the boss or through a party buff, or both. As for the playstyles of these two roles, the DPS classes are mostly going to be focused on specific burst windows. Even sustained DPS classes will have some form of a buff interaction that they will want to play around, like activating a skill that buffs yourself or debuffs the boss for a few seconds before then using your strongest hitting skills. It's a small thing, but in the long run it will end up gaining you a fair amount of damage. For supports, your focus is going to be about keeping as much uptime on your buffs and debuffs as possible. While you will still be able to do a similar thing to the DPS classes, where you debuff and buff before using your DPS spells, but you'll mainly be focused around keeping your team buffed, as your damage is considerably lower than that of a DPS class. The optimal team composition in Lost Ark is to have 3 DPS classes paired up with 1 support. Not just because the support will make the run more comfortable by having those defensive buffs and the occasional healing, but the DPS buffs that they bring will actually make a 3 DPS 1 support comp out DPS a 4 DPS comp, so it's always useful to have a support in the party. Does this mean that you need one? Not really. Majority of Lost Ark's content does not require you to have a specific team composition, but as you get into the harder late game content, having this team composition will be more sought after. The automatic matchmaking in the game will also try to pair together 3 DPS with 1 support, but because they don't want queue times to be too long, this will not always be the case. And I think that about covers everything that you need to know about the roles in Lost Ark. While DPS classes are mainly focused on dealing damage, they will also bring some form of party support, and while a support will mainly be focused on debuffing the boss and buffing the party, they will also contribute a fair amount of damage. So try out the different classes and see which one suits your playstyle the most. For now, that's going to do it for me, so I want to thank you for watching, I want to thank my patrons for their support, and I'll see you in the next one.